should be joining us shortly. He didn't say he wouldn't be here today, so he's usually here. Um, so we are going to get started here. I'm going to give everybody just a moment to get settled. I'm going to go grab a link, the YouTube link, and throw that up in our Discord. So let's go ahead and do that. And we do have some news coming up. We have some employment data coming out in about an hour and a half that should add some volatility to the market. But if you are watching this and it's not live, or even if it is live, go ahead and do the thumbs up, like, subscribe, spread the link, do all those things. We do this show not necessarily to get a lot of attention on YouTube. It's not really why we're doing it. It's more about doing this for those who are interested in becoming traders. This is the beginner's live lab. So this first 30 minutes of the day from Algo Factory is basically, free to the public. And if you are a member, your questions will be prioritized. But if you're not a member and you do ask questions and the members don't have any questions, we can answer those for you. We can do it for free. So for now, once this does get more popular, of course, we're going to probably have to limit it to super chats, and that's how that's going to go. All right, well, I think we've had enough time to settle in. Let's go ahead and jump into the content. And let me take a quick look. All right, yeah, we got a few people watching on at least on the private. So we're going to go ahead. Quick share screen, entire screen. Okay, here it is coming up at 10 a.m. EST is the JOLTS job openings. I know it says 8 a.m. on the screen. That's because that's mountain time. But EST, so that's in, that's 1.5 hours from now, basically. So until then, the market might be a little quiet, a little rangy. You can, for those who are following, you might see a new indicator on the chart. I'm going to blow the screen up a little bit. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to, at some point, probably later today, I'm going to clean this up a bit with those big, huge buy and sell tags. It's a bit much. I may, I'll show you guys a quick way how to kind of, change things a little bit. I was using something called a half trend, and this is just a better indicator than that, I think. I've been kind of testing it over the last several hours. And the new indicator that we talked about in the private came from one of our private members. Seems to really hit it better. It less false signals, and it gets in earlier. So I'm going to, for now, I'm going to prioritize that. But these big, huge tags in the screen are rather distracting. So for the buy and sell signal and the strong buy and strong sell, we're going to take the buy signal and we're just going to turn it into, say, across. Let's see how that looks for the regular buy and sell. Looks like that changed back somehow. That was weird. Okay, so you can see how it just has a little cross on there. It might be okay. It's got sell written by it. And then for the stronger signal, we're going to do a strong buy, triangle up, strong sell, triangle down. And that should just clean up the screen a bit so you don't have these big old huge tags, See strong buy, strong sell. Looks like we have more of these different buys and sells, which is really odd. So we'll go ahead and correct those two. Buys will be crosses, sells will be crosses, strong buys will be triangle up, strong sell will be triangle down, and we'll hit OK. That's just going to make it a little cleaner, not those big giant tags on there. I may make them all triangles though, because the way I've been testing this, it does seem like I can use even the weaker signals. So for now, I'm going to keep it like this. And because I use a multi-panel screen, I'll go ahead over to my panels. I'll go to a full 8 panel to kind of make everything uniform, and I'm going to right click on the screen that I've changed, on the panel that I've changed. I'm going to hit apply indicators to entire layout. Okay. And what that's going to do is that's going to just, all these different panels will have the same kind of indicator, if you will. We got Jay Martin. Thanks for joining. Thank you. And bro, good to have you in. We got some interesting concepts here. Z over in our private chat did ask some questions I think that might be applicable to beginners with regard to logarithmic and log and what do you call it? Whatever the non-logarithmic function is. Let's see. He puts it. Is there a particular case where you would use logarithmic view rather than auto fits the screen? The answer is not really. I mean, the only time I'll use a log function, and I'll demonstrate it here, is with looking at history of something that's had a large dynamic change. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. What's the difference between log and auto fit? If I go to a high time frame, so this is going to be a look back at Bitcoin. All right, so this chart that we're looking at is Bitcoin going back to the beginning, at least to the earliest charting that we can find. And from 2011 all the way to 2017, you'll find that there's not really a very easy way to look at this, right? Not an easy way to chart this. So why is that? Well, Bitcoin has undergone some very dynamic changes, right? So the Bitcoin has changed from a paradigm standpoint. Well, the size of the Bitcoin market, how many people are invested in it, what Bitcoin, a level of adoption has changed. And that's why Bitcoin has been so volatile. And it started off way back here at nothing, like a few bucks. And then it went all the way up now to 70,000. But when I go back in time to look at this, it's really hard to actually do any kind of charting from the early days. Anything up to say 2017 is almost impossible. And that's because of the difference in paradigm. When Bitcoin broke above, say 2000, you start to be able to kind of chart it a little bit. And this is on AutoFit. Okay, so this is basically where, everything is proportionate. Each one of these numbers on the right, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, they're all evenly spaced, okay? But if you want to take a look at the entire history of something like this, that has had a dynamic change like that, that's had a paradigm shift, you can use the logarithmic function on the right here. You hit the L button, and you'll notice that the initial change in price here is something you can kind of map out while looking at the entire deal. So you have, it starts at 2 cents, actually really below that, 1 cent, goes to, 20 cents, $2, $20. So each one of these changes evenly spaced is actually a times 10, right? And that's not true. I mean, times 10 is not an even spacing, right? It's adding 10 that would be an even spacing. It would be, say 2 cents or 1 cent or no cents to 10 cents to 20 cents to 30 cents to 40 cents. But the logarithmic function goes ahead and maps it out in a kind of a geometric fashion or an exponential fashion where, you're able to see the original kind of changes and chart them even. But then again, you can't chart them in a linear function because it's no longer linear. It's logarithmic. Okay. So I don't see any use for that except to just look at history. In a way, this does show you how quickly things change from an exponential standpoint. You can see how Bitcoin really, really gains in its value, and then it's kind of slows down a bit here. But it's not really helpful for me for charting for anything like that. So I would actually go to AutoFit. Let me see, auto. Sure, turn off the log. We got the gorilla in. Let's have him come on in and say hello. Good morning, gorilla.
Oh, I'm live. I was just singing Sade and drinking coffee.
You mean Sade?
Sade, not Sade.
Sade.
And it's
Sade
Sade.
that's baby making music, dude.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, Sade's got good music. I mean, you got to kind of be in a different, attitude for that. You can't be like some metalhead and just go, "Hey, check out Sade. It's really good."
Yeah, they'll look at you sideways.
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, Sade." Nah, man. Those, that means that you don't have you don't got that. How do I put this? You don't got that love and swing.
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
All right, I'm gonna continue talking about this while you're figuring that out.
I'm back. Okay, it's going good. Right. Listen, I got something important to say.
Go for it.
This Thursday, listen. If you're not in the private room, you need to bloody damn be in the private room. You need to join Algo Factory Tech, and I'll tell you why. This Thursday, man, this is I say this with a heavy heart, man. I say this.
Well, you said it last week. You had some big drips. This is
yesterday. I had my field trip thing with my daughter, and then on Sunday night, which is the Monday morning in HK, and it was a holiday over there. They had a holiday. They're back to work here. So I'm talking to some of my private equity guys. A few of them. One of the things that's already been talked about. I'm going to have more information before Thursday, and I'm going to drop it all on Thursday. Guys, the worst possible news I can get, real bad news. I just got real bad news. Okay, I just got real bad news. A sudden shift on what some of the major players in private equity are doing in preparation for a major event. I will leave it at that. And it plays into our 2025 not having data. It plays perfectly into it.
I see either war or lockdown, one of the two.
I'm not going to say until Thursday, so if you want to find out and you're listening live, you need to join the Algo Factory private room, the private lab, and join us because that's when you're going to get it. That's all I got to say, Cowboy.
I'll tell you what's been going around lately, and we'll continue this discussion here first, but let's finish this discussion, and I'll tell you one thing that's going around. We have this, we were talking about logarithmic versus autofit, and there's not much use for logarithmic in trading. That's the end of what I have to really say. So in order to overcome that, if I want to look at the history of Bitcoin and go way back before this paradigm change with TradingView, I just scroll over, and if the screen is kind of in the auto mode, it'll do it for you. It'll move everything for you. Or what you can do is, if you've already moved the screen like I just did right now, it's not going to auto shift for you. So you can just kind of go like this and put it in the middle of the screen and stretch everything out yourself. Or what you can do is double click and it'll go back to where it auto shifts for you, right? So that's pretty much the end of that discussion. When it comes to what's going around all the doom porn, one of the things that has hit my inbox, and Z, an individual named Z in our group, not the Z that you and I know, is talking about is the Great Taking, I think he's calling it. Yeah, it's in our private group. Dave Rogers Webb just came out with it. It's something that's hit my inbox last night too. So it seems to be the financial and otherwise doom porn community is kind of going in this direction where they think that they're going to quote unquote legally take possession of everything in the coming collapse. Like who owns your securities, things like that.
What'd you say? There's a community of idiots who think that. What do they think?
I don't know if it's a community of idiots. I'm just saying that it might be, but they're afraid. And I don't know. I mean, look, they're going to take your home. They're going to take your whatever securities you think you own. That's all going to get taken when everything kind of takes the dump. Because I mean, you and I both know that whatever securities, quote unquote, that you do own are probably rehypothecated trash. They probably don't exist in the first place. I don't know that they can really take that. They may just simply take your money. But, they got people who are afraid they're going to take your real estate legally, take everything. It's basically what happens in like communist countries. I mean, that's something that I've always been kind of prepared for. I'm not big on real estate. I mean, there's a million different ways they can take it from you if they really want to. I'm a lot bigger on physical assets, things that I can guard with, something that causes metal to exit at a high velocity. So I'm personally not worried about that. I mean, and I'm not worried per se about too many things. I'm prepared for a few things. There's a difference there. But what do you think of that? Do you think that there's what do you think of the Great Taking? Does this sound like a new?
When they say taking, are they saying like it's going to be taken by good guys or bad guys?
Bad guys. This details how property rights have been obfuscated so that the man will legally, quote unquote, legally take possession of everything in the coming collapse.
That the man. Oh, the man that's in the government will legally.
Yeah,
it's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's the next doom porn.
That's not gonna happen, dude. There's bad news ahead, but there's a silver lining to the bad news I got to drop on Thursday, and I will answer this question by these doom porn idiots who've been watching too many dystopian Hollywood movies and not fully understanding, and really just studying one side of the elites, which is the homo pedo Westerners that are on the Western side of things. No, it's what they're postulating is, they're going to do a land grab, but we know which states they're going to be doing a land grab on, because every other state, my friend, lead will fly.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, I was considering that. I don't even know why it came to mind. Probably because of that hit my inbox recently. It's like, what are they going to do? I mean, look, short of releasing some truly deadly, invisible thing that floats around and kills people, short of releasing something like that truly is deadly, what are they going to do? Or that, or something chemical. What are they going to do? I mean, they're going to send in, some kind of troops or something. Like, you can't, dude. We couldn't even beat a bunch of guys in black pajamas and flip flops and AKs over in Afghanistan. Yeah. Do you think you're going to beat Americans? That's just ain't gonna happen, dude. Like, if we can't beat guys in pajamas and flip flops, you can't
on
beat
horseback.
Well, they can't on horseback. Yeah.
And that's why every single computer model that was ran where the U.S. military faces off against a U.S. citizen, the military loses every single time, and they know.
Well, I'd imagine the military would turn and fight on behalf of the citizens.
A majority of the military will.
The military is made of citizens, and most of them,
especially special operations, and the vets. I have a friend of mine who's very, very close friends with Eric Haney, one of the founding members of Delta Force, and what Eric has said to him is that he would love, when they line up these Washington D.C. scumbags against a wall.
Hey, be careful what you say now. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, got it. When
he's talking about lining them up and having a very, very
snuggle session,
conversation,
very, very, very direct snuggle session, where they rub noses like the Eskimos are saying "Ugga Mugga." That's all. I'll leave it at that. I'll see the rest in the private chat.
On the private chat,
baby.
Ugga Mugga does have a good question. Ugga Mugga. Drips are becoming gushers. Yes, sir, Trav. Does bad news mean good news for trading? I'm going to guess yes. Yep. Yeah, bad news is always good news for trading.
Look, if you're with us in the Algo Factory, I'm going to tell you right now what kind of business we're in. And I tell this to Cowboy all the time. We are in the chaos business, folks. And business is good.
Yeah, we are in the business. We are. It's so funny because, we're almost like we profit in the same environment as the bad guys. It's a sad thing to say, but
I got that line from Major Payne with
I love that movie,
dude. It's like it's one of my wife's all-time favorite movies.
I love that movie.
You know what my wife called Chris Christie?
What?
Oh my god, she just said out of the blue. I started laughing. I was crying.
She's got some zingers, dude.
Dude, she grew up in the Bronx. Grew up in Arthur Avenue, which is Little Italy, right?
Yeah. She's a Spanish Italian girl, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she called. I started crying. I gotta tell Cowboy this, because she played the clip of Chris Christie calling Donald Trump Donald Duck, and it was like the room went quiet. It was like you hear crickets. It was such a bad joke.
Yeah.
And then my wife called Chris Christie the human gabagool. Look at this human gabagool.
The human gabagool, dude. I got video of my kid saying gabagool. I'm gonna have to bust that out.
The human gabagool. He's like, he sweats mayonnaise.
Oh no, dude.
He's on stage. It's like mayo's like coming out of his pores.
That's terrible, dude. He sweats gravy, dude.
He sweats gravy.
The guy sweats a Sunday gravy.
Oh man. God.
Look, Lisa Gray, by the way, is actually, so she is, I put it up on the screen there. She's Eskimo, and it's actually Naku, not, well, whatever you said, Unga Bunga, I don't know what you said, but Naku must be the word for the nuzzling. That's it. My kid, I don't even know if Eskimo kiss is a real thing or not, but my kid likes to do that, and it's the most adorable thing. I don't know if that's something that the white man just picked up and said, this is how Eskimos kiss. So, but yeah, that's good. Bad news usually is good news for trading, dude. It's like almost always the case. It's we are in the business of chaos. When the SHIT goes down, trading goes up. That's just how it rolls. And when the SHIT goes up, trading goes up. We take advantage of chaos. And I can tell you, the market we just lived. What do you call it? Yeah, we don't give advice, Valentine. That's one thing, is that we don't give advice at all. But V is talking about what he would do with his own if he had that scenario, and he's not giving you advice. But yeah, Gus at Perpetual Assets, if that's something that you think is a good idea after you talk to your licensed advisor, then that is a great guy to talk to about it. I almost had a great, I don't want to tell that story, but I knew somebody who had about $250,000 in a qualified account. And, somebody close to me, and, you never want to tell people what to do with their money, but she was interested in actually taking that money and putting it into Bitcoin in early 2021, I think it was, or might've been early 2020 when Bitcoin was like $9,000, before it went to like 70 grand. And I couldn't get her to, I didn't want to push her, because I don't want, you don't want to mess with somebody's money. Like, you let people make their own decisions. And Gus was kind enough to talk to her on the phone, like beyond, because Gus, he's not interested in, like, he just does a transaction, right? He's not going to hold your hand. It's not in his, he doesn't have time to hold your hand. And I get it. And he was actually kind enough to talk to her a little bit on the phone. And, but long story short, she didn't do it. And she could have, I don't know, what is that, times 8 her money. It's like, dude, just fucking pull the trigger, man. But you never want to go all in on everything, but she could have at least done it with a portion. Anyway, Gus would have been a great opportunity for that, though. That would have been a really good way to go. So if you want to roll everything over, if that's what you come to a decision after talking to your advisor, then that's something you can do. Gus will handle it, no problem. So chart wise, it's going to be quiet for another hour. An hour and 7 minutes until the employment data comes out. Is probably just going to be kind of choppity chop. Anytime that we see, we just had 12 years of market going up in a very orderly fashion, which is abnormal. Market doesn't go up for 12 years. Market barely ever goes up for more than 2 or 3 years. Not naturally, right? Not without a pullback. And the market basically went from, say, 2012 all the way to 2022, whenever it was. I think this year, it just went up for 11 years. It might have been like from 2010, whatever. I think it was like a 12-year run. And that's not normal. It's very much not normal. And I think that the collapse really happened on 9/11. I know that's who shares that idea is Dex. I think Dex has it right. I think the real collapse happened on 9/11. I think that was the beginning, because I think enough people knew the real deal about 9/11 back in the day. Like, your billionaires knew what 9/11 really was, kind of thing.
We always said that the country's always been on a downward slope since 9/11. We've just been on a slow motion nosedive since then.
Yeah, slow motion nosedive. And I think what they decided to do was like, okay, well, we're on the way out. There's still a lot of wealth here in this country. Let's use it to blow up some bubbles, and let's take advantage of it. So they did a practice run with the mortgage-backed securities in 2008. That was the practice run, so they would know how to handle that. Know what to do to handle once it breaks, right? I think it was done on purpose. And now we're in the everything bubble, where it's not just mortgage-backed securities, it's you name it, it's a bubble. And if you think 2008 was bad when it broke down and people lost their jobs, just wait. Just wait. I think we'll have a scenario in, we talked about this, and I'm now starting to see it in other articles, but we've talked about kind of a pullback maybe in the next year. And then after a certain point, probably 2025, the big dump. That's and that's going to be not just a dump, but it's going to be an entire. A reset is not a word I like to use at this point. I've been using the word reset since like 2017, before this, before the WEF really came out like it did and said all that. I've been calling it a financial reset for a long time because I've known that one was coming, and that's before I even really got deep into this stuff. So I think we'll see. I don't think it's the reset that the WEF wants, though. I think it's going to be a different kind of reset. I mean, there's a really good article that Joaquin Flores posted, and it's actually one of the, it's a WFEF video. It's like people in the WEF talking, and they're like, okay, well, we tried to jab everybody in the world, and that didn't work out. The climate change is too complex of an issue, they say. It's too abstract. People are not getting it.
It's so full of bullshit holes. No one believes us.
Well, that's basically what they're saying in the infinite and ever-present doublespeak under which they must live. Right? It's like the mafia. Like,
so why don't you tell them what that idiot lady who's so stupid, right? Who's so dumb. Give us the solution. This is how uneducated she is. Only a bureaucrat who's been living with her head shoved up her rear end, or Klaus Schwab's rear end, would have a solution like this. Go ahead, Calvin. Tell us what this idiot said.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it, because I don't want to. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Right. Where is it? Almost there. It is a dumb solution. Okay, so I'm going to read this out. WEF panelist admits reset is failing. World Economic Forum agenda contributor Mariana Mazzucato, our attempt to jab, we'll say, the entire planet failed, and quote-unquote climate change is too abstract for people to understand. Quote-unquote, that failed. This person who's talking looks like a man, by the way. I'm looking at the video. Yeah. But the coming water crisis is something that everyone will get on board with. Of course, based on the same reasoning and methods that they tried to jab everyone and convince people that quote-unquote weather proves quote-unquote catastrophe, they will try a quote-unquote water shortage scam. Absolutely, indeed, they will shake a few more bananas from the falling tree this way. This is written all by Joaquin here, I believe. Shake the bananas from the falling tree this way from non-sovereign governments and weak-minded people around the world, unless that tree has already fallen. But people, by and large, will reject this for even more clear reasons than the anthropogenic climate change claim or the myocarditis saves lives claim. The whole face of the earth is 71% water. This is a very simple image to present to people to disprove the water shortage theory. Only people who have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and worship at the cult of scientism will cite studies, quote unquote, that run contrary to what everyone's eyes can see. Once again, the people shall prevail. So that's all written by Joaquin Flores. In fact, I will forward this over to the Live Lab chat so y'all can read it and see the person who is talking and why I think that person is. Just look at that person. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, so water shortage. That's the next thing. And what's interesting, I'm not a big there's everyone's like, oh, Michael Burry is right about this and that and the other. Okay, he's right about one thing, maybe a few things, and he's a smart guy. But one thing he did look at was investment in water. Water is one of his things and that's back in the old, that's back in the old days when they wrote The Big Short movie. And at the end of the movie, they were saying Burry was looking at investments in water. So maybe he heard something about what they're going to try to do. But they're probably going to try to appropriate water. I know here in my state, in Idaho, what they did was they took two small obscure counties, and people who had wells punched on their property. In two counties, they basically appropriated these wells and said any amount of water after a certain amount, you have to it's like you got to pay a fee on, or it's like the government owns it or something like that. And it's something that's been being fought because whoever did that tried to do it in two small obscure counties first, because they know that it's not a lot of people and not a lot of people are going to notice, and they want to create a precedent. And that's in my state, which is very conservative. So I mean, there's so much water here, it's stupid. You dig a hole in like maybe 30 miles from here, not that far. You dig a hole 10 feet and you get water. Like all these construction projects, basically what they do is, as they're digging dirt out to make the pads for the homes and like these residential communities, all these little communities have lakes in them because water fills in. That's how much water's here. Like, you can't, I mean, look, I'm going to put you this way. If you live in a place that doesn't have water easily accessible, good luck. Good luck to you. And that's part of the reason we got out of where we used to live in Southern California, because there's just no accessible water. There's none. That's a big reason we moved to here, because there's a lot of water. And people don't think about these things. So Mavbet buried a cistern that collects all the rainwater from the roofs. Very wise. Yeah. And you can, I've heard of court cases where people came to like people's, whatever, the government or whoever came to people's private property and said, hey, you can't collect water. Like, so I'm sure that this is not a new plan. And I if they had the friend of the show that Velas always talks about, they probably could have fought that and won, and probably did. Anyway, long story short, just giving you all a clue as to the future, and we don't know what's really going to happen. We're not Nostradamus, but we are definitely, historically, at least the gorilla himself is, in my experience, been 80% correct or better, 80% of the time or better, and that is better than anybody else I know. So if you are here on Thursday, it's been every week now. The drips come in. Look, drips. When the gorilla comes with his information that's high level, it's only here on Algo Factory. So I'm going to put the QR code on the screen. If you want to find out about us, just zap this QR code, or simply, just go to the website. It's written right on that. Come join us. Thursdays typically is drip day. So basically, it's a day where the gorilla comes with some high level information. It's not legally privileged, but he just doesn't talk about it on the main show, at least not for a few months. But you can get it here first. In my opinion, for the paltry $49.99 that we charge, it's worth it. Gorilla, can you please take us away?
Absolutely. Listen, guys, join us over there. Don't sit on the sidelines watching the world go by. Profit from the chaos, profit from the confusion, profit from the disarray. The Chinese word for chaos and opportunity is the same word. It's the same word, man. Let's take advantage of it. Let's go. Let's go, cowboy.
All right.